Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel, and in today's video we're going to do a breakdown of the Gary Neville and Erik Ten Hag interview where he opened up about all things Manchester United. Get involved in the chat as always, Reds, because we will try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. But what was your first thought, your first takeaways when you watched that interview this morning?
Well, my first takeaway, I took a step back, and with an interview like this is what you have to do, because Gary Neville's there interviewing Erik Ten Hag. He's not there to go back at him and pull him on any answers from the questions. I thought Erik Ten Hag gave a clear account of what was going on, what the problems were. I think he reiterated what he's already said about working on the summer. And to me, my overall impression was Erik Ten Hag is 100% staying at Manchester United. He talked a lot about we.
Yeah.
He talked about the problems going on. He explained what he and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, the club, are doing, how they're proactive, how they're looking at the youth, how they're looking at the plan going forward. Everyone's working towards the summer. And Erik Ten Hag, and we have commented many times that Erik Ten Hag keeps persisting on this summer transfer, and it's all about we. So for me, when I sat back, I looked at it, I thought to myself, what is the message here? Well, to me, the message is clear. And Gary Neville was on board with this questioning. It was a very good interview. It left us all asking for, why don't you ask him this? Why don't you ask him that? Well, at the end of the day, that was not the purpose of that interview. That was set up, and it was set up to counteract all the negativity what has come. And Erik Ten Hag explained about injuries and everything else like that, and how it's affected the style of play and everything. So Gary Neville wasn't there to come back at him in any way. He was just there to get the Man United point of view out, because this isn't just Erik Ten Hag, this is Ineos and everything, and they've come out. That's how I've read it, and to me, that's the message, a clear message.
I'm just going to read one of the opinions in the chat just to kick us off. Paul DG says it would make no sense whatsoever not to continue with Erik Ten Hag. There has been no internal structure supporting him since he's been here. Now is the time to start turning this club around, which with Ineos this team can do.
No, he's got people to work with now. He's not had it there. I think he's been very disappointed. We all have, obviously, with the people in the background not doing the job. It's gone on for years now. And in a new manager, as far as I'm concerned, would be the wrong thing to do. So Erik Ten Hag's there. He's talking about we again, as I say. So it looks as though they're all in the same vein, going down the same lane. I think he's here 100% staying.
He did talk about the summer transfer window that had gone last season, and names like Frankie de Jong and Harry Kane were mentioned, and they were clearly #1 targets for Manchester United. What did you think of his actual overall chat on them two players?
Well, Harry Kane, 30 goals. He clearly wanted him. He wasn't critical of not getting him. In other words, the people behind the scenes failed to get a 30-goal striker. That's what he wanted. He knew he needed that. We all knew. And he didn't get it. And then he talked about Frankie de Jong in the role of where Casemiro was. He clearly wanted Frankie de Jong, and the way he was talking, I think he's still got his eye on him, and he may go for him. That might be the conversation. As we know, Casemiro's legs are a little bit going at the moment. I'm not saying he's finished, but at the end of the day, Frankie de Jong was his #1 target, and now I understand why it went on and on and on. I thought at the time too many games were being played, and it was just getting dragged out. But that was his #1 target, and I think he still wants him.
Harry Kane as well. He was actually talking as though he'd have got 30 goals here at Manchester United this season. A lot of comments that we read on the channel in the comments section, always discussing after games especially, that our wide players aren't putting enough crosses in. But do you believe Harry Kane would have still bagged a handful of goals at Manchester United? A bag full, shall we say?
I think Harry Kane and Erik Ten Hag knows it. Wherever Harry Kane, class striker, wherever he would go, he would score 30 goals for you, regardless of what we see. Poor crosses and things like that, because the system would have changed, attitudes would have changed. So once you've got Harry Kane in there as the focal point, he would have been the man. No matter where he goes, you've seen it now in Bayern Munich. That's the class of the man. Yeah. And Erik Ten Hag wanted him, but the people in charge, and I think there was a veiled a thinly veiled lie. I'm not talking about the structure behind the scenes, who failed. He didn't want to comment on it.
He was asked actually about the game model in Gary Neville's terms. What did you think about that? Because obviously he discussed then the playing style, what he's trying to achieve here at Manchester United.
Well, he's trying to achieve a style where they're on the front foot going forward, and he clearly reiterated again about the injuries. That's what's caused problems. Gary Neville asked him, well, have you adjusted to all these injuries? And he said, I've had to adjust, but not a lot. Obviously with full back, left back and things like that. And with the defence, he said it's been decimated. He said, and I have adjusted, but the overall philosophy and the style and the being proactive is I want to be on the front foot. I want to be an attacking side, and I want the best players in there. And he talks about proactive in the youngsters. He talks about Garnacho coming through, Mainu coming through. But he also did say...
He actually made a big point about Garnacho and Mainu as to say, look, the structure and the game plan, it is working in terms of bringing this youth through so we can put them into the style of play that I want in the first team.
Yeah, he did say the structure was working, but he also did say that that structure was there already working before he come in because of the FA Cup success the youngsters had. He said, and he's there being proactive, and that's the route he's going. And as we know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants that route. He wants to bring his own players through. So everything he's talking about being proactive is mainly looking at the youngsters, bringing him through, and then bringing through good quality players as well to add to it. So all's looking good, but I go back to it. It's we're looking at being proactive. We're doing this. We're doing that. Everyone's working together. And he talks about Wilcox and everything. The conversations he's having, all on the same wavelength.
Yeah, just going to dive back into the chat on what we was just discussing about the game plan, etc. And Darren Cox says, Ten Hag already has the insight into what this team needs. He knows what players to count on. A new manager would be back to square one.
Yeah, a new manager would be back to square one. To me, it would be isolated, a new manager coming in here, because there's lots of players who talk about leaving. Is he staying? Is he going? He's not good enough. I don't think any manager coming in here would create any stability whatsoever. I think it'd just be rinse and repeat what we've seen for years and years, and another failure as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, just going to go on to what you were just discussing there. And he was mentioning about Jason Wilcox and how imperative it is to get to work early so they can actually start doing the recruitment in terms of transfers out, but also transfers in as well. But what did you make about that? Do you think that's a partnership that will blossom and it'll be a good working relationship?
I think it'll blossom. I think Erik Ten Hag's been demanding it, and it's been delivered to him. It's what he wants. I don't think he's been happy, and the way the conversation was going with Gary Neville, it didn't want to sort of like slate the previous regime, but you could clearly see there was an undertone of frustration from him about what had gone on in previous transfers. So he's got the right people in now, and he's looking forward to it. And like I say, he's not only looking forward to it, I think he knows what's going on. Everyone is working together, and when he keeps reiterating, we're all working for the same thing in the summer on the transfers, the ins and outs and all that. Everything's in line as far as I'm concerned. But working with Wilcox, I think he feels that is a right bonus, the way he was talking.
He did say on that part when he was discussing Jason Wilcox, and I've heard him say it before in recent press conferences about his teams being proactive and dynamic. I just want to question you all out there. Do you see Manchester United playing that way at the moment, proactive and dynamic?
He wants to be proactive and dynamic. That's his style. He wants to win every game, but he also knows, as I've said, he needs to make adjustments. But what it was, he reiterated, and I think that was one of the reasons of this interview, was to get out there and underline the problems he's had, trying to be proactive, and also to keep the style, what everyone wants, attacking, and that is the injuries. That was a theme right the way through. So that was a clear message. And that's one of the messages I got from that. And it's sort of like backed. Get in there. The club have said, get in there. This is what you do. Get it out there, because the media have been slaughtering this club, slaughtering you, Erik. Just get it out there and reiterate the problems you've had to face. And he clearly laid it on the line, but clearly laid it on the line as far as I'm concerned, right, that the club and Erik Ten Hag are aligned to what the real problems are, which has nothing to do with Erik Ten Hag. That's how it seems to me.
A lot of problems when we've watched games, and loads of yous out there, including ourselves, after matches. I've seen how wide open that midfield are and how easy it is to attack us and get in behind our back four. And he was asked if he's ever thought about playing a more defensive style, but he actually said, we have actually thought about this, but want that proactive way of play.
That's what he's going to stick with.
Yeah.
It's the proactive, but obviously he's been given the green light for that because the people what have come in, like Barada and everyone else, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Brailsford, they all want that style of football. I've listened to Sir Jim Ratcliffe talk about the style and that. So they all seem to be aligned together on that. And the thing is, he's making improvements, but they're not good enough at the moment and they're not quick enough. But I think the way he was talking, he sees the improvements are going to come with the people what's been brought in, and obviously with Sir Jim Ratcliffe directing operations, he seems to be in a good environment, which not many managers really have been able to sort of say at Manchester United for a long while. He seemed comfortable in everything what was asked him and the answers what he gave.
Yeah, he has, come back to injuries, and he did mention that a few times in the interview. Do you think that is like an excuse as well of why we've not, basically won as much games as we have this season and drawn too many as well?
Well,
and not being able to play that, fast, proactive, dynamic type of football.
Well, Gary Neville asked him a question, and one of the questions was like about the semi-final. Why did we see that collapse? And he pointed out this is what we're getting in the games because of all the injuries, mainly through the defence. He said we could be there 1 minute and then next thing because the players aren't regularly working together and they're out all the time. We've made so many changes. These things happen. So when we are proactive going forward in that, sometimes we get caught out and it's very difficult. This is the explanation in my head, I hear him saying, is that we get caught out and we're not able to work together because these players haven't worked together on a regular basis. And I think underlining that, I think when you look at Onana, that's one of Onana's problems in front of him, not having the players regularly playing there. And it will happen. He sort of said, I expect it to happen because these players aren't working together on a regular basis, and it will happen. I'm proactive. I want to go forward, but I'm also not shocked. And he's not shocked at the amount of shots conceded, and he highlighted that being the problem.
Yeah, he always talks about like the back four, obviously with the injuries put aside, but he always wants like these back four to be able to be comfortable on the ball in bringing it out. Do you expect us to sign more than one centre-half and maybe 2 or 3 defenders in the summertime?
Well, we definitely need 2 centre-halves. That's without a shadow of a doubt. 2 centre-halves. I think he might look for a left-back. I think he might sell one of the right-backs, Wan-Bissaka. I think that's who might sell, but we do need a left-back. You can't rely on Luke Shaw. But he's looking at it, and I think he understands. I think they all understand what the problems are. Older players, breaking down, injuries, everything else like that. So I think that's why they're all on board at producing younger players. He knows how the older players with their injuries and that are affecting the club and his style of play.
Yeah, just going to go on to, he was actually being asked about the media, and we've all seen the onslaught on Erik Ten Hag, the players as well. But what was your overall feeling, in fighting back against... He's had to ban journalists as well, hasn't he, this year?
Yeah.
There's a few of them out there who are not allowed to ask the questions in the press conferences. A lot more relaxed in this interview with Gary Neville. But what was your overall feeling?
Well, lately he's been having a go, being robust with the media in different ways. But today, when Gary asked him a couple of questions, he came out about stories and he said they're a joke, and he was laughing. And he was saying there's 1,000 stories there, right, what are untrue. And it was a way, the interview was designed for that, to fight back against the media and sort of hit them and say, you're all producing rubbish. And that was what basically he was saying, and laughing at the same time. So the message, another message given, was fight back That's what Gary was there for. Here's the question, Erik Ten Hag, and let's fight back. And he's fighting back hard at the media there, because he didn't say a couple of stories. He was talking about thousands of stories where he would say, that's a joke, that's a lie. And he used the word incorrect, lie. And basically, that's what we're seeing. It's a pile-on. We expect it, and I think the club expects it, but it was a fight back. That was the message from him. I'm fighting back against you all. But when you look at that message and that fight back, that's the club, and they're all working together. And that's why I keep saying, right, Erik Ten Hag is staying here, because they're all working together on a plan, on a system, and they're all working in line. That's how I see it. I don't see it any other way.
Yeah, he was talking about the FA Cup final as well, and what he expects there. You know, huge game, our biggest game of the season. So what was your thoughts on it?
Well, he's looking forward to that cup final. He mentioned 4 games as well, but that FA Cup final, second FA Cup final 2 years in a row, he's proud, and he thinks United have got an excellent chance picking up the FA Cup, which is what you expect from a manager to say anyway. But he's expecting players back, but he's really looking forward to it. And you can see the enthusiasm in it, and that's quite right as well, looking forward to it. I mean, we was all disappointed after the semi-final. I think everybody was. But at the end of the day, the time now is going. It's going to be here soon. And that FA Cup final is always something to... When you look at it, like Gary Neville, it's not his usual type of interview. It's not the way he normally conducts himself. But he's in there. Club want him in there. Right person to do it. And at the end of the day, I just look at it and think, it just leaves you asking for more questions, but Gary wasn't there for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm just going to get involved in the chat. Like I say, get a couple of your comments in. Alvin San says, how many managers with the same batch of players, have had success at Manchester United, of a similar quality?
I can't really comment on that. Same batch of players, quality and all that. I mean, when you look back... and you look at managers and teams, I can't really answer that, to be perfectly honest with you. I'd be guessing and probably end up making a fool of myself.
Yeah. Squire Seven says it was defo a PR exercise, Tony.
I think it was more of a fight back, a stand, and sending a message out there. We're not having it anymore. And these two got together, got the right questions. He came back with the right answers. And he was just fighting back against the media, and so also explaining to everybody the injuries are the main problem. It's not Erik Ten Hag. It's not his style. He's tried to make adjustments because of all the injuries, and everyone's on board. I think it was just a fight back because we've just seen it. If you think about it, Erik's been out there on his own now for nearly 2 years. And now he's got the backing of the club and people in the right place. And I think this is a concerted effort to fight back because the name of Manchester United, right, has been dragged through the mud. So it's time to fight back. Yeah, maybe PR in a way, but I think it's Man United standing up for themselves. When they're in...
Sorry to interrupt. Do you also think it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe's and the Ineos Manchester United's way in telling everyone this interview that he is here next season, instead of just public coming out of his statement to rubbish these rumours that he will be getting sacked this summer, as to say, look, he's here, he's planning with everyone else behind the scenes for Manchester United going forward next season?
He's not going to come out. No one's going to come out and say he's here next season, because what it is, if you look at the players and that, some of these players, right, might decide, oh, well, if Erik's going, I'm staying. You know what I mean? Well, you don't want that. You want someone to play for Manchester United. So it might be catching a few of these players out, keeping them in limbo, what's going on and all that. But at the end of the players should be concerned about their own performances and all that. And that is the problem. They're concerned about other things on and off the field, and they should just crack on with what they're doing, but they don't. So keeping Erik Ten Hag, the name, is he or isn't he going to be the manager, might not be a bad ploy.
Yeah, I do love it, though, when he comes out, though, when he fights back against the media. I've got to be honest. Sometimes I am a little bit disillusioned, in what he's actually trying to achieve by some of the comments he comes out with. But I always love a fight back from a Manchester United manager. Yeah,
listen, Sir Alex Ferguson always come out fighting and that, and he put a few in the places and that. But Erik Ten Hag, I think over the last 2 months, has been given carte blanche to go at him, fight for the club, stand up for your rights and all that. And it's the right way to be, because the media is absolutely obsessed with Manchester United, and anything is a story. You know, if a player lost a pen, it's a story. It's mad how it works, but media, they just love Man United, and any story will do. But the more controversial, the better. So it's right that we stand up now and push back. That's how I see it. And that was the message today. We're fighting back.
Stephanie in the chat, cheers for keeping the tabs on the likes and the viewers.
Thank you.
If you are enjoying the video, you want to help support us, smash that like button, Reds. Akash says, I'm convinced by this interview that Erik Ten Hag is staying for at least one more year. We've got that same feeling, like we've been saying throughout today's video as well.
Yeah, well, we've been saying that today, but we've also been saying that for a while in the way Erik Ten Hag's conducted himself in interviews. And this interview with Gary Neville today clearly pointed that way. That was the message. He's always talked about, and I think he's talked since February, about the transfers opening in the summer, working on it. So at the end of the day, he's just reiterating that, but with a lot more firmness on other subjects as well, about style of play and everything else. So it's all coming to a head, how he's working and how he's portraying himself, what he's doing inside the club, and everything, as far as I'm concerned, was there answered.
Your top mate, Arsenal fans, Amy Assey's in the chat. Cheers for your super chat,
Cheers.
mate. He says, how will Ten Hag cope with the Arteta revolution?
Well, it's not a revolution. He's won nothing.
No.
It's not a revolution. At the end of the day, he's not going to be bothered about someone who's won nothing. And at the end of the day, I know, it's all about winning things, and that's what we want. He's a loser up to now.
Just sticking on Arteta, how long should it be until really his position as manager starts getting questioned if he doesn't win the Premier League this year? How long is it for them to keep going on season after season without winning a trophy and spending millions of pounds in a summer transfer window?
Arteta is under massive pressure, right? Next year, if he doesn't win the league, this year, and he should win the league, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't win the league, then at the end of the day, next year, he has to produce. The Arsenal fans want trophies. So it's no good coming second all the time.
Squire 7, cheers for your super chat, my
Thank
mate.
you.
Much appreciated. It says, have a pint on me, lads, over the bank holiday. Love the channel. Keep up the great work. Am I right having that?
He's having it.
Am I right having that? Cheers, mate.
He's having it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
I'll get you a bottle of water. Stephanie, cheers for keeping a tab on the likes.
Thanks
and
for the
viewing
support.
figures. Yeah, cheers for the support with everyone. Darren Cox says, Arsenal fans, great entertainment value.
Yeah, there will be great entertainment value, because if they bottle it again, if they lose at Old Trafford, listen, Man United will fight. That's what I expect, and that's where they'll lose it. City will win every game. Arsenal, they have to win every game, so there's pressure. But coming to Man United, it's a different thing. There is a battle royal going on, and I do not want them dancing on my pitch in front of a home crowd celebrating.
Giart, though, he does actually bring it into perspective, though, and he says, let's hope Arsenal do win the league above City, but it is funny if they don't. 4 in a row City, all that sort of stuff.
Listen, we've all got our opinions on it, and strangely enough, I don't care if City win it, because, to be honest with you, I don't hear anything after City have won anything, because give it 2 weeks, then every City fan just shuts up. It's not on the news. You don't hear it on the radio. Yeah. No one cares about it. But if Arsenal or Liverpool had won the league this year, then at the end of the day, it just goes on for 12 months and it'd be a nightmare. So I'm not really bothered if City win the league. But at the end of the day, Arsenal come to United, and you never want your team to lose in favour of someone else winning the league. So United have to beat them. That's what I want, regardless of it giving City the championship. At the end of the day, whoever wins it is the best team.
I think whoever wins the Premier League this season, I think with what's going on at Manchester United right now and the developments that look to happen in the summertime, I think that'll just take over everything, to be honest with you. I really do.
In what way?
Just in what they're doing, especially like with Dan Ashworth, the recruitment with players, etc. There's a lot of players there who are going to be leaving Manchester United, and there'll be probably more developments that we're not even aware of right now that will probably happen in the summertime.
Listen, if City won the league, okay, be all the news for 24 hours. If United went and bought someone the next day, that will take over the news. That's what I'm trying to get at. So it doesn't bother me from that point of view. And I'm not interested in City because they're only a small club. They always want to be. This is how I've seen it all my life. Okay, as a Mancunian, right? They always want what Man United have got, and they'll never have it. So it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter what they achieve.
Anything more to add? Actually, Pigeonhead in the chat says, nearly choked on my cup of tea when I heard it's not a revolution. They've won nothing. Crap me up, which...
Well, they haven't won anything, you know. And if it's okay going near and, oh, yeah, we're getting there. But you can't keep saying that. And at the end of the day, if he hasn't got the skills to push him over there, then you'll see what happens, the same as Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp has been fighting and fighting to get there. And it's destroyed him because in his brain, Jurgen Klopp, he knows he can't conquer Pep Guardiola. He knows he can't get it with the backing of the club, getting these players in the structure. He can't do it. Well, Arsenal will go the same way. They will just keep failing. If they fail to win that league, that's what they'll be seen as. Klopp, yes, he's done well for Liverpool. We know that, right? But he hasn't achieved what City have achieved. He hasn't achieved what Sir Alex Ferguson achieved, okay? Greatness. That's what it looks like. And he wanted that and he thought he'd get it. And he's done in. The same will happen to Arteta. But what will happen with Arteta at Arsenal, lots of doubt will start creeping in if they don't win the league this year.
Yeah, just like to thank everyone for joining us today. I thought I'd do a bit of a breakdown on the Gary Neville and Erik Ten Hag interview where he opened up about all things Manchester United. Get your own opinions in the chat because we'd love to see you interacting with us and getting involved. If you've enjoyed the video, leave a like on it. We're on the march to 70,000 subscribers as well. A huge number of you actually subscribed yesterday after yesterday's video. As you can see today, we're not working from home. We're actually at Hotel Football, which if you don't know what I mean, watch yesterday's video. We enjoyed the comments coming in on that one. But enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. It's a bank holiday, and see you on Monday, everyone. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.